Number 962, electricity strategy for village. To install VRE, electricity strategy for village that have not been electrified, development of rural electricity. As of Q4 2020, the electrification ratio in Indonesia has reached 99.20%. Details of the electrification ratio include regional Sumatra, Kalimantan 99.46%, Java, Madura, Bali 99%, 58%, and Sulawesi, Maluku, and Papua and Nusra 96.93%. The rural electrification program is the government program, and PLN program to electrify rural communities. Its development is prioritized in provinces with low electrification ratios. The strategy to electrify these villages is by developing the existing distribution network. However, for areas that are still isolated and do not allow the development of networks from the grid, generators will be developed that prioritize local renewable energy. The geothermal condition of the unitary state of the Republic of Indonesia, which is flanked by two continents and two oceans and has more than 17,000 islands, provides an extraordinary challenge, especially for PTPLM, to provide electricity that is evenly distributed, sufficient, and of good quality. Referring to the geographical differences that are so complex between islands and between different regions, efforts to provide electricity in accordance with the mandate of the Constitution are becoming increasingly complex and full of challenges. This challenge is increasing as the provision of electric power is both capital intensive and technology intensive. Hybrid microgrid system, both with batteries and with PLTD, are also being developed to maintain electricity reliability and as an effort to electrify village 24 hours. In the last 5 years, the government through the ministries and the related agencies has continued to encourage and increase the supply of electric power in all corners of the country. This effort was translated by PLN to meet electricity demand, both in terms of availability and reliability. With these efforts, PLN has to build hundreds of generators and transmissions to meet the availability of electrical energy on remote islands, remote locations that are difficult to reach and are known as the 3T forest outmost and disadvantaged regions. Apart from isolated areas, the village electricity program also reaches 3T villages, frontier, outermost, and lagging behind, as well as border areas, which include the area of national border crossing posts, priority locations, center for national strategic areas, and outmost small islands. For these areas, if the utilization EBT is still not realized, it is possible to develop oil-fired power plants. In accordance with the master plan for the management of state boundaries and border areas for 2020 to 2024, there are focus areas in 232 sub-districts. Priority locations and national strategic area centers overlap. Priority locations in the state border area, which includes 222 districts of priority locations and 46 sub-districts that function as national strategic area centers in 18 PKSN, and there are also 42 populated outmost small islands that are included in PLN electricity planning. The PKSN locations are located in several districts in the provinces of Aceh, Riau Islands, NTT, West Kalimantan, North Sulawesi, Maluku, North Maluku, and Papua. Meanwhile, free locations are located in several districts in the provinces of Aceh, North Sumatra, Riau Islands, NTT, West Kalimantan, East Kalimantan, North Kalimantan, North Sulawesi, Central Sulawesi, Gorontalo, Maluku, North Maluku, Papua, and West Papua. In addition, there are 6 provinces that are included in the state's close border post area, which are included in PLN electricity planning. The PLBN areas are located in the following districts: Natuna, Kupang, North Central Timur, Buru, Melaka, and Alo, Sambas, Sanggau, Sintang, Kapua, Hulu, and so on. The development of rural electric power is based on a study conducted by the local PLN business unit with the organization of PLN planning for the development of these by the PLN business unit will also be coordinated by the regional business directorate. The plan will be consolidated corporately with PLN's corporate planning directorate. Currently, some of the development of rural electricity is also carried out by several regional governments through funding from the regional revenue and expenditure budget. This is done by the government in coordination with PLN. Policy to pursue 100% electrification ratio in 2022, the policy adopted by the Directorate General of Electricity and PLN in the development of village electricity is to support the achievement of 100% electrification ratio in 2022. The plan for the development of rural electricity has been prepared in the PLN Village Electricity Roadmap, which has been prepared by the unit for each province. PLN strives to provide electrical energy for all Indonesian people with an electrification ratio of 100%. This effort is an ongoing effort that has been carried out for the last 5 years. The government succeeded in increasing the electrification ratio significantly with an increase of almost 15% over the 5 years to 99.09%. Of the total electrification ratio, approximately 1% of households do not have electricity. Distribution map of village electrification ratio in Indonesia. Nusa Tenggara area is very low percentages. The village electrification ratio is still lacking in the MLPT regional area, Maluku, Papua, Nusa Tenggara, where the electrification ratio is less than 95%. The preparation of the rural electrification program takes into account the following matters: to electrify new villages that not yet have electricity, or all villages that are part of hamlets that do not yet have electricity. Expansion of the distribution network of the adjacent existing power system accompanied by additional generating capacity required by the system. Construction of small-scale power plants by both NRE and other power plants, including communal PLTS, PV towers, solar, home systems, and ADP DAL, and the necessity distribution networks to electrify isolated villages located far from villages with existing electricity. Electrical tube in the form of the battery bank known as APDAL, and charging of APDAL electric power storage device is carried out at the station called SPEL, Electrical Energy Charging Station. Electric energy is supplied through the PLTS, PLT Bayou, PLTMH, PLTPH, or PLTBM, opening the possibility of hybrid PLTS and hybrid PLTB with the PLN grid. Development of fuel generators relocation for villages which are relatively more developed but not yet possible to connect it from the nearest grid expansion system, nor is it possible to develop local EBT generators in the near future. Construction of the distribution network outlet to support power evacuation from the new GI project or extension transformer GI. PLN is committed to achieve electrification ratio of 100% in 2022, both by PLN itself and in collaboration with the government, in this case, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. For this reason, in addition to electrifying villages through the PLN Village Electricity Program, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources also held an APDAR program for 433 villages that did not yet have electricity. And in 2017 to 2019, a electrification program was also carried out using energy-saving solar lamps for villages, which in the next 2 to 3 years is still very difficult to electrify. This program is a bridging program from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources in areas that are very difficult to reach by PLN. Before being electrified by PLN in 2020 and above, villages that have expired their LTSHE warranty period will be electrified by PLN. The government continued to strive to accelerate the national 100% electrification ratio in 2022, especially in helping to electrify poor people who are near the PLN network. Several programs have been developed to help provide electricity to poor people, including the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources CARES assistance for installing new electricity, regional government funds, One Man, One Hope, PLN, CSR, PLN, and SOE Synergy. Location map of 2021 PLN villages roadmap distribution. MPNT and 1,573 villages. In addition to the 2021 target, PLN has also made a rural electricity roadmap up to 2030. This effort is intended to provide directions for the company to always be committed to efforts to provide electricity to all corners of the country with sufficient energy and reliability. In addition to electrifying new villages that have not had electricity at all, the Rural Electrification Roadmap also provides directions for the next few years related to efforts to expand the electricity grid in villages that have been electrified in previous years. And at the end of February 2020, the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia caused an extraordinary challenge for PT-PLN in continuing efforts to electrify villages that did not have electricity throughout the Republic of Indonesia. The existence of COVID-19 pandemic, accompanied by the large-scale social restrictions policy in almost all regions of Indonesia, has caused the progress of rural electrification to be delayed for several months, with uncertainty felt to restart the process of providing electricity to villages that have not yet had electricity. Nonetheless, PLN remains committed to electrifying all villages that have not had electricity at all, as well as efforts to expand the network of electrified villages so that all households can enjoy electricity services on the principle of adequacy and reliability. Electrify 433 villages not yet electrified in Maluku, Papua, and Tunggara. Infrastructure development is very important to increase economic growth and people's welfare in an area. One of the most important infrastructures is development in the field of electrical energy. In this case, specifically in the Maluku and Papua regions, there are still many scattered and remote villages that had not yet enjoyed electricity until now. Due to this, PT-PLN is planning a program for the development of electricity, namely the Maluku Papua Turan program in 2020. To realize the Maluku Papua Turan program in 2020, PLN must work extra hard to improve the development of the Maluku Papua electricity system. and Nusa Tenggara in the next 2 years, PTPLN is required to be able to increase the electrification ratio of Mark, Papua, and Nusa Tenggara to reach 97%. The steps to achieving the 97% electrification ratio target are to electrify remote villages that not yet have electricity throughout the Mark and Papua region. In 2021, there are 433 villages that do not have electricity, consisting of 325 villages in Papua, 102 villages in West Papua, 1 village in Mark, and 5 villages in East Nusa Tenggara, as shown in Figure 2.4. That of the 433 villages, 61 villages will be electrified by network expansion. 75 villages will be electrified by the construction of EBT generators, mini grid. 12 villages will be electrified by PLN CSR rope, and 285 villages will be electrified by APDAO. The remaining villages that have not yet been electrified will be planned to be electrified in the following year. This is a map of MPT region, not electrified villages. Oh, wow. How big? 433 villages. The locations of remote villages and far from the center of the economy and the difficulty of the land transportation are the main difficulties for electrifying the area. To overcome these conditions, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources and PTPLN need innovations in building electrical systems that are fast, easy to operate, practical in shape, and can be relocated. The system in question is up-down electrical power storage device. Up-down is an energy storage, which is a package of a series of battery units with a certain power capacity, complete with accessories, and can be used directly, a type of power bank with a system like this. PTPLN does not need to build the electricity transmission distribution network to distribute electricity to consumers. The recharging process can be done at the electrical energy filling stations by charging the empty power bank with one that has been charged with electrical energy. Electricity 95 PLTD locations in Maok and North Maok provinces. Specifically for the LEADS program, in 97 PLTD locations in Maok and North Maok, which are planned to electrify 489 villages and 58,000 potential customers. That is government policy to reduce the basic cost of provision of electricity and increasing EBT with a direct dieselization program to EBT and hybrid program. That's all.